So um, the character discussed today is 3, and I mean, without further ado, let's establish every single item. I mean, the character that we are talking a lot about here is 3, and then specifically we are talking about BFS this time around, and the spell you can cast, and there's certain rule book to actually follow. I mean, here is the whole of the playoff series at this current point, and I mean the core objective of this whole item is that we just basically want to find the rightmost value on each level. So right most each level. So that's pretty much the core objective of this. When you come into the payoff series, so what happens is that originally, I think this is the 1, there's the 2, there's the 3, there's the 5. Now, right, so the first thing first is that there's the queue box and there's the result box, right? So it's sort of like a system that actually stores value per se. So like now we have this value right over here. So what happens is that we will add the level item here first into the queue, and then adding of the item, maybe we say it's as operation Z, where we sort of start adding items. Add towards a queue. Now cool. And then operation X will be probably adding children to the queue, right? So if you were to see, the children is like this 2 and a 3, so we add a 2, we add a 3 here. Alright, cool. And operation W will be very much of like pop level previous, right? So for the previous level, it was like this level 1. So we gonna pop this value. I think there's an operation Y in between. So operation Y is to actually add to the results layer, right? Basically, it's returning back to the system of what value is on the rightmost value per se. So 1 will be added here. We operation X. We add the children to the queue, 2 and 3, pop the level previous, which is the ones, and then we go on that we have this 2 and 3. This 2 and 3, what we're gonna do is that we're gonna add to the result for rightmost value. So for this case it's 3, so add a 3, and the next step is that we add the children possible for each of it. So we'll always start from the left hand side. So start left sides. So what's gonna actually happen is that we add the straight from the left side, so it's the 2 and 3, and what's so 2 left side doesn't have children, but the children right hand side have, so we're gonna add a 5, and then we go on to 3, look at its children, there's a 4, add a children 4, and then once we are done with operation X, go to operation W. Operation W, we pop the level previous, which is 2 and 3. 2 and 3 will be popped, and then now we're left with this. Gonna go back to operation Y again, add result by rightmost value. In this case it's 4, so add down a 4, add its children's, like we see 4 has no children, only 5 has its children's, so and then we're gonna pop the level previous, which is the 5 and the 4, and as you can see there's only one item left in this whole item, and so we're just gonna print the last value, and yep. I think as we all know that um, the item BFS, right, it contains some form of like formula to be able to actually it involves some form of formula, and maybe this is operation N. So how I look at this is that I think operation X has like a complicated um, operation to actually do, which is adding items starting from left side. Like sure, layman term you say starting left hand side is fine, but I think that in the systems level, when you talk about this, it's that it doesn't know what to do. So that's when I think operation N comes in. It has a certain formula that it actually reaches out to the left hand side value first before anything else. I think if I were to actually pinpoint, I think operation X is one of the most complicated piece amongst the rest. Everything is pretty much very straightforward, so I'll say that if I were to really emphasize, is like for operation X is that it has the functionality of getting values from left side to right side. I think that's magical, and it's a very beautiful one, of course, and I mean, if I were to talk about the rulebook, it's really to do with it's asking of an issue of like saying that I think I want the right most value, because I mean I only want the items over here. So when actually when I first hear this, my natural instinct is like BFS. Why? It's because like it takes into consideration of like levels, and the item that the spell that I can think of really is that levels item, because I think of the character BFS being able to actually cast the spell of like level item, and I find that it links a lot towards the story of like what rightmost value is trying to achieve here, right? So and one of the other spell that I see as I observe is that there's like bunch of like operations that's actually ongoing. So when there's a bunch of operations in a single stage, I would really very much refer it as being a step of like having some form of like reiteration. And in this case is that every time it goes into an item, what it's gonna do is that it's gonna like conduct all these different operations, and for this case is like it keeps on running through operation y, x, y, x, w, and then it sort of like keep on goes into a cycle. um, yeah. I think it's also nice that we actually go down to each of the mini characters that we are seeing over here. So I mean, we go off with the easier ones first. So results. I feel like this item is just sort of like just you know just prints values. It's a very instinctive item, in my opinion. But for Q, I mean, like it has this functionality of like you can either do a first in or you can do a last int to be some form of like a first out value. So you can either choose the first or the last, right? So I mean, whatever it does, it was like first in, right? And then it eventually pop off, um, and you can get the you can insert the two values all together, but later on when you do a certain operation, it's like, say for example, when you add use the operation Z, you add to Q, it's always starting from left hand side, right? So and that and I mean, yeah, you add items are starting from left side. So you 2 and the 3, but you notice that when you actually um, when you try to add to the result, it's like the rightmost value. So you're adding from the left side, but you're removing from the right side. So I think to that, it's one of like the spells that this Q character can actually conduct. And a side thing is that a lot of things that when it comes to Leetcode, it's a lot to do with, you know, having like this MTBI ISTP. It just reminds me a lot of that, where it just, you know, a lot of times it's just it's a very strict logical code way of like doing things. Basically, you run through the every single operation, and then you sort of like draw reference from it and say that, okay, I'm doing this operation Z, maybe say I'm doing this operation X is because I want to get the value from the right hand side, you know. So for each item that you're doing, why do you do that? It's a lot of like asking why and how you do it, and yeah. And then the next item is talking about maybe say we always have the brute force to actually try to fight against our character, and for this case the brute force to actually fight against um, um, our brute force to fight against our BFS. I mean um, like of all these characters, I think we're fighting the main character obviously, right? So we're fighting BFS. So like as we talk about like the complications of like BFS at a earlier part was that it is able to conduct this operation X of like actually being able to extract out values say from starting from the left hand side, like um, in my eyes when I see about brute force is that there's no way that a brute force will know how to um, like the main item that I want to talk about is like maneuvering around the map, maneuvering around the map. So it's gonna have no eyes, and it's just only am able to actually achieve this, like some random values just going like this. It has no eyes and what not have you, but and instinctively thinking that if you were to implement Operation X, it's always starting from left hand side. That means that it's always gonna take the values from the left hand side. When you actually try to actually argue against Operation O, you beat Operation O out the water, because one, it has like a fundamental rule of like starting from the left hand side, but your Operation O can't do that, right? So I mean, even if you have like some form of like rulebook that is actually saying that I want the rightmost value first, and I mean starting from left hand side, and your brute force will be out of the picture already, and I will need this Operation X to actually come in. And so with that, I think that is how I gonna actually challenge against brute force, if you were to ask me at this. Yeah. So yep. um, so yep, with that everything comes to an end.